The first thing that the Prophet Messiah mentioned was to be humble. The Holy Quran relates that the first stage for a believer is that successful indeed are the believers who are humble in their prayers. Before you approach the prayer, you should be aware of who you are addressing. After all, if we was going before Hazur or we was going for a job interview, then naturally you want to make a good impression. Likewise, when you do your prayers, you are in the presence of the Divine Being. And you should realize that you are nothing compared to Him. You are fortunate to be given this life. And you are fortunate to have this opportunity to speak to Him. So you should be humble and not proud. The prayer, being a series of different prostrations, displays outwardly you being humble towards God. Likewise, when you address Allah, you should speak humbly. Just as a beggar will persistently beg a person to help him and keep continuing to try to move that person with his words until that person finally relents and starts to help him. So likewise, we should also try to present our needs to Allah in such a way that Allah will grant our supplications. The next condition that the Prophet mentioned was to be righteous. As I said earlier, to follow God's way, you should do so if you do follow God's way, then obviously you will become righteous. And naturally, Allah will be pleased with you by your actions. And therefore He's more likely to help you. The third condition is purity. You should not approach any prayer unless you are pure of mind and pure of body. This is why ablution is the key to prayers. No prayer will be accepted without ablution. But ablution is not just outwardly becoming pure, but inwardly you should be preparing mentally to be in the presence of Allah. That is why a true believer is always trying to be in ablution, because he always feels that he's in the presence of Allah. The next condition is truthfulness. Obviously, if you're not true to yourself, then you cannot be true to others. Allah knows what your real condition is, and knows what the real intention is behind every request. Therefore, it's vital that when you supplicate to Allah, you are truthful. The next condition is to have perfect certainty. The prayer is you talking to Allah. And if you're not certain that Allah really exists, then it will show in your speech and in your actions. If we're talking to someone on the telephone, and you start hesitating, thinking that perhaps the person that I'm talking to has put the phone down, and I'm just kept hanging on the phone here, then naturally you will start hesitating in your speech. It will become meaningless to you, because you'll feel that you're not really talking to anyone. But if you're certain that you're talking to them, then you'll be trying to convey your message to the person. The next condition is to have perfect love. Again, this is very important. As through our love for someone, we will naturally be affected, and they will return that affection. Allah is all-loving, and He displays His mercy and His love through His servants. Therefore, we should always be grateful of the blessings that He's bestowed upon us, and show love to Allah. Finally, you need perfect attention. Again, this is politeness. If you're trying to have a conversation with someone, and that person's not paying attention, he's looking around, he's becoming very bored, then sooner or later you will get the message that this person's not really interested in what you're saying. And so you move away. You'll find someone who is interested in what you're saying. So likewise, why should we expect Allah to pay attention to what we're saying if we're looking bored, if we're fidgeting, or giving the impression that we'd rather be somewhere else? So if we strive after these qualities in our prayers, then there's a very good chance that our prayers will be accepted. And if you feel that your prayer has been heard, and then you find that it comes true in such a way that it can't be a coincidence or just chance, because of this, you will become convinced that Allah does really exist. The more this happens, the more stronger your faith will become. The present Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, has related that he believes that acceptance of prayer is deeply connected with your care and your concern for others. If you're only concerned with yourselves and your family, then you'll lose something in the power of prayer, because this becomes a very selfish act. But when you turn to God and you beseech Him in the most earnest manner for His special mercy, then that becomes a different matter. So if your concern for others is limited, so also is your power of prayer. But if you have a much wider concern for humanity, and if you share in the sufferings of others, then this produces a very special quality in your prayers. God hears those prayers much more than others. Azur continues that if I get agitated about the sufferings of people in Africa, or perhaps the persecution of the people in our community, if I find myself in agony about the suffering of others, then at a special time God will listen to me. I know this. That feeling for others, that turning to God for help, is a quality which must be promoted in all men and women. The Holy Quran shows us that the best means of recognition of God is prayer. And that is only through prayer that a complete and perfect understanding of the existence of God and the perfect attributes is obtained. Therefore, the acceptance of prayer is a mighty proof to the existence of God. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you for listening.
Jazakumullah.